You want to get this done? Okay. Like that's how it feels. I feel like I go that fast and then I'm like, so welcome to this serene. Let me tell you about the work that I do.
Think about what you do if nothing mattered.
Think about what you would do if you didn't have to do all the things you have to do. And I will give it to someone and they'll be like, this is such a pretty vase with these flowers in it.
I never knew such a beautiful vase could exist. Welcome back to Living Magic. We're your hosts, Catherine Middlebrooks.
Kyla Jenkinson.
And today we are talking about living in possibility.
Living the dream.
So we'll talk a little bit more about what that means in a moment. We've had quite a prep
eventful.
For this.
An eventful prep.
Kyla threw a crystal into her coffee cup and
it jumped.
It
was
jumped.
Not a toss. It was a real let's see if we can dive straight in there.
And
so,
it did.
It
successfully did. All right, should we enter the vortex?
Oh, right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh. I almost picked those. You wrote notes that then you spilled coffee all over.
Not super serious notes, just ones of our topic, which was worded really well about possibility.
Right.
It was.
Okay, so here's where we are. Set the scene a little bit. So both you and I, we've talked about this plenty of times, a lot of changes in our lives, and you're still very much in the change. I'm sort of, hopefully, fingers crossed, to the other side of much of the change. But that leaves us now in a place where it's sort of like, okay, what am I going to do next? Right? Like there's like natural endings to things and all of that. And I was saying to you that I find myself in this, like, I'm used to hustling. I'm used to just being busy all the time. And I find myself going into that habit of like, well, this is what I should be doing, so I'm going to do that. But what I realized I really needed to do was not fill up my space in my mind with the things that I feel like I should be doing, and instead take a minute, I don't even know how long, take some time and live in possibility and let my soul feel into the idea of all the things that could happen next. And after living in that space, then choose, here's how I move forward.
Yes. Okay. And I'm going to add to that.
I feel like I need to.
I have to take these off.
I know. It's too much. We were in there for a second. We'll come back later.
We're exiting the vortex. Yeah, it's a good time. I think for me to get to that, I have to remove an obstacle, and that is that I need to have money for all of these things. So in this visualization for me, I was like, you have everything that you need already. You don't need to hustle to make money. That's like a big piece for me, is like that hustle is driven by, I need to pay my mortgage and buy groceries and all of that other stuff, right? So if, let's say, the possibility was that that piece was a given and you are already meeting all of those requirements to feel safe and comfortable, what then do you do with your time?
Right. Yes. Yeah, because that's part of it too, is like we have been hustling to get to a place where there is more possibility too. And so, yeah, you have to sort of, whatever you have to do to get your mind to a place where you can actually live in possibility. And so that is the sense of, if money were infinite, if I had everything I needed, then really, what is it that I want to do, to feel, to live? Like all of that stuff, like really, so whatever mental gymnastics you have to do to allow yourself to be in a state where you live and consider what it is like to live in possibility. Yeah.
Which is very expansive. So we talked about when you talk about that, living in possibility, okay, it's not the same feeling as how do you make your dreams reality? That's not the same question. It's like, because immediately I go to work,
I
work,
know.
work, 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 work. And so it's like, okay, but how do you live in possibility feels very different.
It feels incredibly expansive to me. Just the moment I asked that question the first time we were on the phone, we both were like, whoa, yes, okay. Because it's like it opens up all of these fields of possibility. But I will say for me, it almost becomes overwhelmingly expansive because I am like, I don't know, like I feel like, okay, all of these possibilities become open. And then my mind sort of goes blank because it's like, uh, I don't know where to go. I don't know. Wait, I think that my brain doesn't know how to live in that space because of the way that I've lived for the past 43 years.
Well, it's because of the hustling piece too. I just was on the phone with a photographer friend of mine yesterday, and it's interesting how the pressure. I just said to her, I am completely unemployable.
Right.
I could not work for anybody else. Like as much as if I wanted to change things and then needed to get another job that another human was providing for me, no, because
I know.
I was like pulled in 1,000 different directions yesterday morning, and and I had 3 photo shoots booked and had to find a hair and makeup artist last minute, and then get a call from my husband that's like, Asher forgot his boxing gear, so I have to drop that off. So it's another half an hour into my. I was like, I'm completely unemployable. I could never show up to a 9 to 5 job and be like, let me do some work for however many hours that I'm here. I mean, sometimes I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Right.
That I'm unavailable from this time period, but that's not how I've structured my life.
Well, yeah, and assuming that then would stop contacting you to do all the other things, but they won't. I
They
think they
wouldn't.
won't. That's the reality of that life.
No, and I have a sick kid today, so it's like this question of like, what is it like to live in possibility? I think that is hard because immediately it goes to, well, first I have to solve this problem, and it's like, no, 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 that problem is solved. So you had all your um, ideas of problems don't exist. They're not a problem.
Right.
And
And that's
from
what you spend your time on so much in life. Like it really, that we're always putting out fires and dealing with the thing that is the most urgent need. And like, let's get the rent paid and let's do like all of that becomes how you spend your time. And so the idea of like, if you don't have to solve problems, if you aren't dealing with an immediate, I need to make this happen today, then what do? Again, I'm like, blank. It's
well, it's
crazy.
yes, because I don't think that for me, I've ever like I'm living what my dream job was when I was young. So I'm like, is that still what I would do if I didn't have to use that tool to create income? And my answer was no.
Hmm.
For me, it was like, no, I wouldn't do that anymore. I fulfilled that part. I like it now because it helps to solve these problems. So yes, I'm still going to do it to solve my problems. It's not like I don't enjoy doing it to some degree, but I could also live without it now.
Right. Yes, totally. I mean, I have my online business is pretty passive at this point. I really don't have to do a lot of work for it, but I do spend a lot of time feeling like I should be doing more marketing, more XYZ. I should be updating this, fixing this. And when I sit in possibility and I'm like, is that what would you do with that? There
Right.
it's very much like I would probably optimize things a little and then I would let it run. I would not be putting my time and attention on making it bigger, building it bigger. Like that to me does not feel like where my soul wants to go next. That's where I was, you know?
Right. That's right. Like my soul doesn't want to go there next. When I was explaining to these gals yesterday, who I was photographing, doing a boudoir shoot for, and they were like, do you do other stuff? Or kind of asking me, how did you get into this? And it was so easy to tell them the story because there was some real purpose in the beginning of why I wanted to do that kind of work. And the evolvement for me was it is not my job to make women feel better about their bodies. That was what I thought I could do. That was what I thought my purpose was. I can do this for everyone. And then I was explaining to them, that's not really what it is anymore. For me, it's like, that is your own work.
Yeah.
And then you come to me to celebrate where you have evolved to it yourself. And so I can reflect back parts of you that you are starting to recognize as beautiful humans. So I was like, and they were like, I just watched this like, oh, that's such a good idea. And then they texted me afterwards and say, I really like, my confidence is boosted, all the stuff that I love to hear. And so then I go back to, oh, well, is this my purpose to do this? And I was like, it's part of it, but it's not the be all end all. And how do so back to our question, could I still do pieces of that in different ways? Do I like again? Then I want to ask the question, how can I be of service? Like how can I be of service? Right. And I want to know where you go, because I really want to say where I went. And then I'm like, well, I don't know if that's 100% being of service, but where did you go with it?
I want to hear what you have to say before I go there too, but I just want to echo that. I mean, that is also where, when I go blank, which is really, it's real blank, I got to tell you. Then yeah, that's the next step. And it's like, okay, what do I do to contribute to this earth in this time that I have in the next way? Because obviously all the things that we have done up till now also have been contributing to the world and to people and benefiting people, but also they were serving our like immediate needs as well too. Like, and I gotta pay the rent and I gotta yada do all those things, take care of these kids. So again, taking that away and then being like, okay, if I'm going to be of service in the way, I think the way that I frame it is like in the way that my soul wants to be in this lifetime on this earth. What does that look like? So I want to hear where you went with that first.
I think that I'm really not enjoying the hustle. Like there's like even yesterday when this is just so like in your face, it was like, okay, you can still do this. You didn't turn your phone on right away in the morning, so you didn't see the message at 6 a.m. from your stylist that she's got the bug. And now you got to hustle. You got to get in touch with someone else that you told you didn't need and now tell them that you need them and beg them to do the job for you. And then you have to get in touch with 3 of your clients who are all lined up for a venue that you have already reserved. Like it was so much hustling. It worked out fine. So I just want to that would be my gratitude for my angels and the magic. Like all of that worked out fine. It just was a little bit of a shake up in the morning. But I just feel like that part of my life, the hustling part, like get it, go, you got this. I'm like, when does that become not so intense? Mm-hmm. And, just like, so I want more peace around stuff. So when I feel most peaceful is like when I'm gardening. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, oh, if I did not have to hustle to create and I could live in possibility, I would just be in the garden. Like I would grow my own food. And I thought about that. I would grow my own food. I would garden. I would just be outside that whole time, just around the earth fairies that I'm sure are there, and have my hands in dirt and be in the sunshine and feel like filled up because I'm connecting with all of the things that I love. I love watching things grow. Mm-hmm. And with plants, it's that slow, like I just had a plant bloom. It's beautiful. I bought it at the grocery store. It just had little buds. It looked dead. I was like, is it dead? It has so much possibility. I'm going to buy it anyways.
It's living in possibility.
And yesterday, I don't know what happened. I came home and it was like, pa-ting! And I was so excited. So that reward of nurturing something and then getting this beautiful return, and I'm finding that the more that I can let that, I don't really put my garden to bed in the winter. I'm like, well, it doesn't happen in the forest and the forest knows what it's doing. So I just add more leaves and stuff to it, let the leaves but I try to keep it. Anyway, my point is that it's so fun to be a part of that natural process. And then it's like a painting to me. Like you add a little flower color here and you try these out and then they come up and, I just love
Yeah.
that. So I could spend a lifetime doing that. Then I also realized I was thinking back this morning while in the shower. So much information comes while in the shower. Does that happen to you?
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Blank.
Blank. No, absolutely blank. But I was thinking about one day several years ago when I was like, peace out, family. I'm out. I'm going to go take some time to myself. You guys figure it out. And I just had one solid day of time and how much I could fill in that one day of just taking care of myself. So it was so nice, but I also was like, oh, you like to write. You like to write. Maybe you would write some stuff. Maybe you would. So the possibilities kind of, I was like, what would I do? And it's like, I would do things that bring me joy and pleasure. And I still think would serve some sort of purpose, but it wouldn't necessarily be what I have labeled as this is your purpose.
Right.
I think so much of what I've done in the past is like my purpose on the planet is a photographer who does this. And I'm like, no, that was maybe part of it was just such a desire for such a long time. And so much of my identity was tied to that. And now I'm like, I release that pressure cooker. I don't need to have that as my purpose.
I resonate with all of that so much. And it makes me think of, I did a workshop one time with an author, Sharon Blackie, who wrote the book If Women Rose Rooted, which is an amazing book. I highly recommend it. And the whole workshop really was about your relationship to a place. And the whole point of like doing that workshop was recognizing that you, by getting in relationship with the earth in a certain place, you're helping yourself in becoming a full expression of your soul, but you also are serving that place on earth and helping it become its fullest version of itself too. And I love that idea so much because I do think it's so easy, because I think this is like the way you framed it. You're like, I don't know if that's really a good enough purpose. But it's like, yes, it is. Because if you think about it as you're stewarding life, you are helping life grow in all of the plant forms. You're helping this place become the best expression of itself so that it can foster more life. When you think about it that way, that's like so important.
Yes.
And it is such a vital piece of the big picture of the earth and the earth's becoming, and we're just these little ants on it. And it's like, but we have this, we can step into our purpose, which because of the culture we live in may feel like small, but it's huge, really, when it comes down to it.
I love that as a different perspective of how to, like, don't play that small. That's not a small thing to
It's
play.
not small.
No,
it's not small. And I think the only reason we think it's small is because we do live in this hustle culture that is like, your value comes from your work, the work
Right.
that you do. And that's why people are like, well, what do you do? And I hate that question because I'm like, I do a lot of things.
I do a lot and you don't get to know about any of it.
And I will not tell you unless I like you. So yeah, I love that. And I think that then requires so much unlearning of the hustle.
It does. And here's the thing is when, what I love about this question is so many thoughts came up for me throughout this week because we talked about at the beginning of the week how it's going to unfold. But the other piece was the things that I would do more of are the first things I remove from you get to have that. It's the first thing to go. So for me, it's self-care, right? I would love to, I don't actually, I would love to do my form of exercise, whether it's dance or a walk or outside time. First thing to go. If my days are full, nope, you don't get that. Probably the thing I need the most on a health spectrum, on an overall, hey, here's the the whole picture of how to make yourself whole, it is the most important, and it's the first thing to go
Right.
for me.
It's like the base of the triangle of
Yes.
needs. Yeah, I know.
Yes. And so I found that interesting. And then just, it's like this pushback, like this is kind of how I visualize it, is it's like, okay, I'm going to root in to my agreement of creating more possibility, starting by doing these things that I love as a priority. And then that pushback, it's like, oh, are you? Are you? Are you? Because you have to hustle. So then it's like way over here, and it's like, you really have to hustle. It just pushes it. And then it's like, I think I want to do some magic. I want to believe. I want to believe. It's so hard.
It is so hard.
And it's like, and I just feel like I would be so good at being a very wealthy individual, because I do feel like having that pressure removed, it seems like it could free me up to do such better work on this planet. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I think the piece of it that probably is true, but is hard to believe, is if you are prioritizing the things that your soul is really being called to do, if you are making time to care for your body, care for the land, etc., you are in the flow. And so all that hustling that you have needed to do will probably, everything will come easier because
Yes.
you're in the flow. You will see the signs of the universe. You'll be able to act on them. It won't feel like you're always putting out fires, because you will be grounded and centered, and your soul will be like expressing itself. And then the universe can respond to you in that state in a totally different way than it can respond to you when you have pushed all that stuff to the side and are just running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. Exactly. Yes. Because the universe is like, I can't give this lady anything. She's out of her mind right now.
No, but I think like my angels are like, let's watch her do that thing she does when we make it really hard for her.
It's fun.
Because I
Let's see
can
what
just
she
be
does.
like, you want to get this done? Okay. Like that's how it feels. I feel like I go that fast, and then I'm like, so welcome to this serene, let me tell you about the work that I do.
Come in to my sacred space. that
No,
have
I didn't
created.
panic this morning that none of this was going to happen. I'm completely grounded.
I trusted that it all would work out just
The angels
fine.
responded, and
Oh my God.
it's just like the amount of times that I have to be like, inside there's all of this chaos, and I have to be like this. Yeah, I can help you with that. Do you need me to help you carry that in? Yeah, not a problem. No, got that. Just meanwhile, I'm like, I'm going to eat brownies and coffee on my drive there because I deserve that after what has just happened to me.
And it's 8 a.m. in the morning.
I just need something to satisfy this crazy urge to Thelma and Louise to Mexico right now.
And that is also where the feeding your soul first will benefit you. Because as you've said, if your goal in this life is to find balance, this is the key to it, right? Like actually, so being in this state of possibility and then doing those things where your soul is like, hi, here's what I really want to do. That creates balance for you.
Yes.
When you're not doing that stuff, then you're out of balance.
I want to just grow flowers. How do you feel about that? Like flowers and some vegetables, and I will tend to my bees.
I love it.
I know. So, and people can come visit, make some bouquets if they want. I mean, but then I get really attached to my flowers. I'm like, they want to live in the ground.
I know. You can't cut them out of the ground. That does feel harsh. But I feel like that is a relationship. Yeah, you can like cultivate that relationship with your earth, and you can have certain flowers maybe that are like, I volunteer as tribute to be in the bouquet. And
yes, they might tribute.
Yeah. They're like, I think I want to be in somebody's house and make this house pretty, you know?
I have to tell you a little sidebar funny thing. So I've been moving my dad out, and he he's been in his new place for a little over a week. And he just put the blinders on and walked out of his house. I don't want anything else. I'm like, okay, let me sort that for you. And I was like, I'm trying to blind her too. Like, I also don't want anything else of yours that it's in here left. I don't want to
Right.
know about it. I don't have it now. I don't need it. I don't want it. But there was the vases, very pretty vases. And I was like, and they would be so pretty with flowers in them. And I could give those vases to people instead of just giving them to the thrift store full of flowers when I had my flower garden. That is where my head went. So did I keep those vases? Yes, I did, Catherine.
Yes,
I
but you
did.
kept them. Of course you kept them. They weren't going anywhere.
No.
But you kept them to spread joy.
I know. I was like, I can't let this go. I will want these one day. I will need a vase, and I could use a mason jar, but I will want a prettier vase. And I will have this, and I will give it to someone, and they'll be like, this is such a pretty vase with these flowers in it.
I never knew such a beautiful vase could exist, and now it is mine.
And then I won't want to give it away because I'll be like, it will look really good in my house too. But then someone will need something more, and immediately my heart will be like, I'm going to plug your heart with this vase of flowers. I'm going to plug right into there.
I approve. I think it's okay that you have those
Okay.
vases. I also think you're going to go through 25 purges of your stuff between now and whenever you make a move. So
Yep.
who
So-
knows if those vases will make the cut or not? We'll find out.
No, we'll find out.
Stay
It's a
tuned.
story for later.
Stay tuned, listeners. Okay. No, I love that idea of possibility for you. And I think it feels very right and very accurate. And I also imagine the more time you spend doing that, the more time other things will also reveal themselves to you.
Hmm.
You know?
I also think, for me, and I bet this resonates with you too. It wasn't the first thing that came. The garden was definitely the first thing that came, but it was like, oh, you could hone in on your skills, like your clairvoyant skills, all of those skills that we all have, that you could tune those a little
Mhm.
if you had more time.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, like watering that garden, then putting that into the flow, how much more in the flow you get tuning into those things. Same as like tuning into your body, but tuning into your, help me with the words, like the clairvoyant is like clear vision, like seeing things clearly.
Mhm. Yeah.
And how much more helpful would that be for me in my life if I wasn't debating the signs so much,
Right. Yeah. Which,
And just
yes, of course,
releasing
you
it to the
being,
angels.
yeah, and you being more in nature and taking care of yourself
yeah.
better, of course, would help you foster that very easily.
Oh my gosh, so much easier.
Because
Yeah.
you would be having these insights while you're got your hands in the dirt, and yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do you still got nothing, or did you?
No, I'm
come
good.
up?
I mean, I've
Okay.
had thoughts.
I know you
think
have.
I think that and just conversation has also had thoughts come to me as well as we're talking about it. Okay, so when I sit in possibility and it's open-ended, it does feel overwhelming to me. It feels like there's so much possibility. So I sort of have to narrow the time span a little bit and be like, let's sit in possibility for the next like 5 years. Like what's possible in the next 5 years?
That's good.
Right. Because if I'm like for the rest of my life, I'm like, I don't know. And I think that's probably because it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to allow that to be able to change, because the thing that was my purpose 10 years ago is different than now. So when I set possibility for the next 5 years, as I have already shared, when it came to the new year and thinking about what I wanted for the new year, I think I shared this on the podcast, whatever. If I didn't, it was the same sort of thing, which was really rooting into a plot of land with a house. And so that also the same sort of thing, this like, I want to steward a piece of land. I want to add plants to it that attract more wildlife. I want to watch things grow. I want to, because the idea of like permaculture is very exciting to me, where you put over time, it needs fewer inputs because it's feeding itself and it's becoming its own ecosystem. And that idea is like magical to me, because it's like you are really stewarding life on earth. So I like that. And I live in a city. So Luckily, it's a very green city, so there's a lot of possibility. But the idea of taking a little plot in the city and making it this very lush green thing is very exciting to me. So that is part of it. But then the other piece of it really has to do with my energy work, because when I do that work, I walk away from it every time being like, oh my gosh, my soul is so happy. It just did that work. And what I love so much about that work is that it is service to other people. And it can be on so many different levels. So like sometimes you're working at the soul level where you really are like clearing karmic stuff for people. But then on other levels, sometimes like this week, I was helping someone clear like residual congestion from an illness that they had, like the flu, you know? And so it feels like I one time had this vision of being in my office and having people come into my office and they were like dim when they walked in and walking out with a light shining from them. And that's what it does feel like for possibility for me, is really accepting this
gift.
I mean, I don't want to say it because I think everyone can do this sort of thing. So it's not like a gift, but it's that my soul did choose to come this lifetime and express in this way, where it's like, I see the light in you and I'm going to help it shine. I'm going to help clear the stuff that's preventing it from shining in the world. So you shine a little brighter so you can go express your soul in the way that it's meant to do. Like that's part of the possibility, but I feel resistance to it because I'm realizing I'm not thinking about it different from hustle. There's this part of me that is like, if I really step into that and I start pushing that, I'm going to become so busy that I'm going to become the chicken with my head cut off, and I'm going to be taxing myself, and I'm going to not have time to take care of myself. The kids are going to have less of me. And I think what I have to do when I sit in possibility is recognize I can do this however I want to do this. Like I am so fortunate that I don't have to have 45 people coming in a week and be exhausted. I can build a practice that looks exactly how I want it to look, that builds in rest for me so that I can also be in my land, so I can also be with my children. And I don't have to do that the way that I've done other work in the past. And I think that's where, when I'm in possibility, I'm like, oh, I could be serving that purpose that feels very important, but also feels still really balanced.
There's the key.
That is the key.
Yeah. You can be serving that purpose that is very important and still feel balanced.
Yeah, because that's not the only thing that my soul is here to express as well. And I think that that's a very easy try, especially for people who are more like magical, you know, they come and they just, that's all they're doing. They're just working with people nonstop. And my soul is like, yeah, I do want to do that. And I also want to have fun and sleep and rest and be outside and XYZ.
Yeah. It makes sense when we talk about these things, and implementing them feels different.
It does feel different, I know, because we get back in the hustle mentality. I know.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is that we have to actually not fall into the trap of just like, I got to do all the things I'm doing.
Well, it's a patterning too, right? It's like that pattern is so familiar, that trek that we've made that we continue to walk and reaffirm, and to get off of it onto a new way of being.
Yes.
And then reaffirm that, like, it's an awareness thing, right? We've pulled it into our awareness, and now we have to walk that other path more often.
I wonder if this is just getting older too. Like you have, when you're young and you have kids and you have young kids, you're like, we're in survival mode. We're in hustle mode all the time. And then as they get older and you have more space, then it's like your soul is like, and now it's my time, my turn. And then you're like, oh, wait, what? I have more time. I have more space. Now, what?
Okay, I'm going to go back to bodies because I have a body relation to this idea.
Yeah.
Because I had two women in their, I'm going to say mid to late 20s, maybe
Hmm.
I photographed yesterday, and then maybe one that was in her mid to late 30s
Hmm.
who had three children. And we were just talking about bodies, and it's the same thing. It's like 10, you know, how hard it is in high school. Like, we look fantastic.
Oh my God. You're like, I
We're
should have
so
been naked
fantastic.
all the
All the
time.
time. All the time. Even into your 20s.
Hmm.
But you're so hard on yourself even then. It's like, oh, I have this like one little hair that sticks out on the side. Whatever it is. Like, I have a freckle under my eye. I don't like my earlobe is bigger. Whatever. Like the things that people tell me that they don't like about themselves.
No,
I'm just
so
like,
sad.
oh my God, nobody notices that. But anyway, but you do. So, you know, it's not really about other people. It's like noticing yourself. But then like my 10 you go 10 years into the future and you look back at 10 years from the past. And you're like, what was I complaining about? Now I have. Da, 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 da. And then,
But you're also like,
you know,
whatever.
yeah. Well, then you go like 10 years into the future. You look 10 years back again and you're like, what was I like, what?
I know.
And then, so this idea for me with photographing women and they're like, I want to do it at the right time. I was like, that's today. Like it's now. It's when you decide this is I'm worth it today, you know?
Right.
Because your 10 year self from now will look back and be like, why didn't you do it then?
Exactly.
Like, you should have done it then.
Oh,
I just think it's so
know.
interesting, but you're right, like the different phases. And we were with one of the gals that I was, one of the woman with the kids, we were talking about the differences between how you feel about even after kids when you're like, she's like, this is so not the body that these other women are expressing right now who haven't had children. And still, like, I am gonna get dressed up in this lingerie and you're gonna take my picture and I'm gonna feel pretty.
Well, you also, though, are also like, yeah, maybe it doesn't quite look the same as it did in its 20s, but damn, didn't it do some stuff? Isn't it powerful? And like, can't it achieve some, like, can't it do things in this world? Whereas when you're 20, it's more like, I'm here to be looked at. And then when you're 40, you're like, no, I'm here to do shit. Like, this body is here to help me do stuff in this world. And that's part of what makes it beautiful.
Right. And, but it really does, again, even like with the purpose of, back to this question, when you start out and you're like, that's my purpose. And then as it evolves, it's like, is it still? I think that's it. I just want to create these ways of being that really serve and honor where I'm at now in life.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of hustling. So I don't like, I just got all these threats on my business Facebook page. I think they're fraudulent.
They're definitely fraudulent.
But Meta's like, your page is about to be taken down.
They're definitely fraudulent. And you're like,
I'm
whatever.
I'm like, please do it. Just stop threatening me. I've gotten like 4 threats from 4 different metadatas. Just take it down. If you think it's inappropriate or that the content is not right or that it's copyright infringed, I don't care. Do me a favor. Release it. Release it.
The universe already did that with your website. They were like, we'll take that offline.
They didn't threaten though. They're like, no threat. Just look, I can tell what you need. Goodbye.
Oh my gosh. And also not thinking with your head and thinking more with your soul.
Yes.
Again, we're here we chose to come here. Why? I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know. And so I would like to figure that out.
Well, you know what else is funny to me is that we keep saying we don't know. We don't know what we're sharing. We're just sharing our stories. I was like, this semi-scary thing about life right now is that we are turning into the ones that have some wisdom.
Oh my God.
And we're like, wait.
I don't know anything.
I mean, I've learned some stuff and then it doesn't feel like I've learned enough to be an expert on sharing stuff. And then but then I'll meet people and I'll be like, oh, you don't know that yet.
Mm. Oh. And then you think about how much more confident we will be in our wisdom when we're 60 versus right now.
Which we'll be like less and less. Like we know
nothing.
We've learned a lot from where we were, and what we know is that we know less than we did before we knew what we know now.
And that's the true sign of wisdom, knowing that, admitting that you know absolutely
When you
nothing.
admit that you know nothing, you can really trust that person.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when we're on here, when we're 60, yapping away, we'll be like, I don't know. That's going to be our whole podcast episode. I don't know.
Here's what I experienced. I don't know what that means.
This is my story. Take it or leave it, because who
Yeah.
knows? Okay. I love that.
Do you have anything that you wanted to are we like wrapping it up?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like we could share our magics or whatever of the week.
Uh-huh. I'll go. So I traveled this week and I asked the angels to help me on my travel, like I had read about in my angel book. I said, make this easy and sort of fun. And, you know, it's a crazy time for air travel because planes are crashing in the air and falling out of the sky and flipping over on runways. Like it's a little stressful to fly. And my trip was the smoothest trip that I have ever had. We literally got into the longest security line. And the moment we got in line, a woman who worked at the airport came up behind us and said, you have kids, come on, come with me, and pulled us out of the line with two other families and took us straight up to the first class security line where there was absolutely no line. And we walked right through security. And we were like, our kids are 10 and 12. They're not little. I was like, I wouldn't pick these kids out of a line. I would make them stand in line. I could not believe that that happened. And then it was just like stuff just kept happening. We were all we were all in middle seats, and the people next to us like gladly gave up their seats to put us next to each other. I said to my son, I wish I had some chips. And then they gave us my favorite chips on the airplane.
What are your favorite chips?
Sun chips. I love sun chips so much. And then on the way back, we randomly got seated in the like big legroom aisle. And it was just, I've never had a smoother. There were no delays, no problems whatsoever. And I am so thankful to the angels for all of their assistance. And I was like laughing about it because it was so cute. I had just said, please make this fun. And I sort of felt a little energy of like, oh, okay, here we go. And then they were like, here you go, get out of line, go up to the front of it. It was awesome.
I love that for you. And anybody that's traveled knows what a special treatment that is.
So special.
It's so special. Because traveling can really not be fun sometimes.
I like
the destination can be fun often, but like the process can be a little rugged at times.
I couldn't even look at when we were getting pulled out of the line. I was like, I can't look at any of these other people.
Don't make eye contact with the
stuck
regulars.
Crazy long security line. Like I hate myself right now, but thank you, angels. Thank you very much. Okay.
Well, as a follow-up to last week when I told you, I think I had good energy and I found this person that wants to rent, our house, and I felt good about him. And then it ended up not being a good fit. They weighed some pros and cons, but my husband offered the house like almost $300 cheaper than what I was going to advertise it for. And I just went, I am going to just trust that if this is the right, I was like, oh, that's not what we talked about for the price, but okay. And I was like, I'm just going to, if that's it, then that means that this person is meant to be here at that price. Great. Anyways, he didn't want it at that price. So I advertised it, and I've lost track of the amount of responses that I've had.
Many.
Which is a little overwhelming, I'm gonna be honest, but also like, okay, well, there's a lot of interest here. So I wasn't wrong that I'm in the game. I don't feel like I'm overcharging for this. And I even think my husband was like, wow, whoa, okay. I was like, yeah, now this is when we do like an application process and we get to have a little more variety in the pick of the right person to live right next door to us. Because, I live in the country for a reason. In fact, I really wish that we could just leave that place empty and I could just be not bothered by any other humans, but that's not the case. So the perfect person is on the way, and the angels are like, yeah, I'm sorry. I know you liked that person's energy like you do. You find someone that you're like, that's good energy right there. I like that energy, like that soul. And they were like, no, let me just take the reins here.
Another soul that you really like
You need
too.
another soul that's not whatever that soul was, and probably a little better fit for you. And I did put the pressure on because Steve and I sometimes do actually need to hustle to get stuff done.
Yeah.
I will say that. Like, there's an end point here when we need to have things ready. So there'll be some hustling this weekend and it will feel good.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that that's the thing is you're in hustle right now. You've got to hustle to do some
I
stuff.
gotta.
And so,
Yeah.
but then to be imagining when the hustle can end and
When
you
the hustle
can
can end.
step into the slower, more balanced possibility because that
Yeah.
makes the hustle feel a lot easier than if you're like, I'm never going to be able to stop doing this.
Well, listen, I think it's time to hitch your wagon to a rainbow.
Yes, it is. And I feel like we need to start saying at the beginning of the podcast that we need to lower our expectations and raise our vibrations.
Yeah, that's our beginning one.
Welcome to
You
the
gotta remember to
show.
start out.
I'll say, welcome to the show. Lower your expectations and raise your vibrations.
Here we are with Catherine Middlebrooks and
Middle.
Kyla. I was thinking just the other day, I was like, my previous last name was rolled off my tongue so much easier than Jenkinson. Jenkinson. It was just Jackson. Kyla Jackson.
Kyla Jackson is a good name.
It's my rock star name.
Now I have the longest name. On my airline ticket, I was like, are they going to let me through security? Because it said Middlebrooks Catherine, because my name is too long to fit on the damn ticket. Like,
Probably when it scans it, it gives you your whole name, right?
at Purgatory, when we had our season passes, it only said Catherine because they couldn't fit my last name on it. And I went up to like check in, and the guy working there was like, I've never seen that. Where's your last name? And I'm like, I think it's just too long. I don't know. I'm just Catherine. Here I am.
You can call me Kathy if you want to.
No, that's my aunt.
Oh yeah, not Aunt Kathy. You're not. You're like, you can call me Veronica if you want to. All of your names are long. You picked long names for all your names. Your nickname, your
Oh my God,
spirit
my
name.
spirit name. Yeah. I need to just be like, Dot.
I knew a Catherine once that went by Cat.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Meow.
I'm not an animal, and I feel
I
like
don't like that for you at all.
it's not good. No, I had my friend in high school called me Kitty and with a C, and I hated it so much, but she's never stopped calling me that because it was like a joke. And now I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Do you want to know my nicknames from high school?
Mm-hmm,
For
definitely.
middle school, they called me Forehead because they said I had a big forehead.
They should have called you Five Head. If they were smart, they would have called you Five Head.
That's right. They weren't smart. So I got that nickname, and then Janet, my
Why?
basketball team, because my basketball coach thought since I was Kyla Jackson, he would call me Janet Jackson, and then they
Janet.
shortened it to Janet.
Janet, if you nasty.
And I was always like, I also have an Aunt Janet. And I was like, whatever, but no.
Yeah,
That was pretty much it.
that's it.
Well, have a lovely rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy life and live in possibility.
Live in possibility, baby.
That's what we encourage you to do. Think about what you do if nothing mattered.
Think about what you would do if you didn't have to do all the things you have to do.
That's it.
Live in that possibility.
Oh,
So-
that's why it's so expansive. It's like, oh, I can drop all of these fucking responsibilities that I have and just live my life. Oh, yeah, that feels good.
Oh, wait, you mean live my life how I've always wanted? Wait, what?
It's funny. Neither of our possibilities said anything about our husband or children whatsoever. Whatever.
No, we want to take care of ourselves for a change.
But they are still around. They're going to have to be a part of it.
I mean, they're in there. They're in the life. I just don't have to care for them.
You're just like, you're in the house. I'm in the garden. This is my possibility.
Yeah, the house is your space. Okay? The house belongs to you.
This is my domain.
I'll come in there for shelter. Unless I build myself a hut in the garden.
And perhaps I've already been thinking about that, but
Oh, my hut strength feels strong. My hut game.
your
feels
she
strong.
shed. It's going to be your
My
she shed.
she shed. For some reason, she shed Shit.
Yeah.
I need a she shed by the seashore.
Oh, you do need a she shed by the seashore. I'll come stay in your she shed by the seashore.
Heck yeah, you are. You're already invited.
All right, I love you.
Live in possibility.
Bye.
Bye.